So my view is we've tried too long and too hard to deal with the Russians. Don't go back to the UN. It makes us look really, really powerless. Deal with the states in the region who are prepared to do something about Syria. There are a lot of them, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and others. Recognize that it is the Iranians that are mostly keeping Assad in power. And the reason the Iranians are doing that is Syria is Iran's foothold in the Middle East. They can't afford to lose the Syrians, and so it will be a good thing when Assad goes down. But as to the American role, the problem is that we seem to think that if we got involved somehow, we would foster sectarian violence. Assad would get tougher and more brutal. We had a whole list of horrible things that would happen. They've happened. And they've happened because we didn't get involved. It's not that I would argue for you don't want American boots on the ground. You don't. But if you let the opposition get its arms from anywhere that it can, and if you let the opposition, if the opposition is not strong enough to really fight Assad, and so then things get more brutal, you are empowering the worst elements. Whatever there was in terms of a Syrian opposition that was thinking about a kind of multi-confessional, more democratic-like Syria to succeed Assad, they're in the background now, because this is now a civil war. And civil wars are the bloodiest and the most brutal wars ever. So it's not surprising that Assad is doing terribly brutal things and you're getting atrocities on the other side as well. It's also not surprising that Al-Qaeda, which really flowers in these kinds of circumstances, is operating heavily in Syria. I hope we have not missed the moment at which you could still organize politically the opposition, arm them on the basis or the expectation that they will live up to some kind of political framework. Start to work with the regional states, because right now the problem is the Saudis are arming their friends, the Iranians are arming their friends, the Turks are talking about stopping the Kurds from, it's breaking down into all-out sectarianism. And so the United States and Europe, for that matter, which actually don't have in that way a dog in this fight, might be able to have a more neutral view of what Syria should become. And so I think the United States has got to step up, or you're going to see Syria, devolve. And even if Assad is overthrown, it will be a much worse Syria, and the clock's ticking every day.